Welcome. Hi. I'm Cheryl Cameron. I'm the one who's been bugging all the candidates. And I only had phone numbers, so I had to do everything by text. I couldn't do any emails. Welcome. Hi. I'm Cheryl Cameron. I'm the one who's been.
All right, we're live on YouTube right now as we speak. Sorry about that.
Okay. So anyway, I'd like to welcome all of you. And I just want to give a few words about why things are a little different from last year. Last year, Will Hamilton, who was the chair of the town Republican committee, and I have known each other for years, and we decided we could do a bipartisan candidates night. And so we did. And we got a lot of very good feedback, and a lot of people came. It was pretty successful. Unfortunately, Will is no longer the chair of the town Republican committee, and they decided to do something different. In fact, they're having a ice cream social tomorrow, Wednesday night, which sounds pretty yummy. Okay, and last year we had. Last year, we had questions. We had people put in questions when they came in, and then Will and I picked out the appropriate questions so that, they weren't cited either way. I don't quite trust myself to be real fair on questions. So that's one reason. And the other is that some people were very uncomfortable getting questions that they hadn't seen before and having to talk, answer these questions in front of a room full of people. And I am so grateful to people who run for town offices, because it's time-consuming, and you've got to put yourself out there, and you may not get elected. So if whatever I can do to ease the process, I'll do. And then once we finish here, after all the candidates finish telling us about themselves, then we have a little meet and greet in the Sebago room. There were refreshments in there. And so if there are questions that you want to ask a candidate, you can do it without putting them on the spot, which will be nice. Okay, now Patrick Vincent, did I pronounce your name right?
Close enough. It's French.
Yeah, right. Well, I thought I sounded French.
Well, greetings and welcome, everybody. I'm Patrick Bonsant from Saco River Community Media. I've been working at Saco River Community Media since 2007. As far as I know, you have had some form of public access or community television since 1990. We became official in Standish in 2000. We were the original YouTube. You just saw a little flash of YouTube there, where live streaming on our homepage at src-tv.org as we speak. Cable subscribers are watching us on Channel 5, the government channel in Standish. And we're really proud of what we do. We also have two other channels. One is Channel 7. It's the Education Access Channel, primarily school board related and education-oriented materials. And Channel 2, which shows local and regional programs. We have some school board candidates present tonight, and we will hear from them around 8 o'clock. They're all running unopposed. Ellen Decotis will not be able to make it tonight, but Kelly Heath and Paul Welch will be. Right now, we welcome the following highly qualified candidates for Standish Budget Committee, Planning Board, and Town Council. And for the Budget Committee, tonight we have present Joe Paul and Christopher Perrin. And we will start with...
Oh, I just want one thing. Rosemary Kane is also running. She just couldn't make it tonight, but she will be at the ice cream social on Wednesday night. So if you want to meet her, you can meet her there. Okay.
Very good. We will have Joe Paul make his statement for the Budget Committee.
And all the candidates, I'd like to welcome everyone. I started setting up chairs earlier, and I didn't have near as many, I guess. So I am Joe Paul. I'm a current Budget Committee member. And before that, I served on the Town Council for 4 years. In my civilian life, I guess, I was 25-plus years in the paper machine manufacturing. I've lived in Standish, actually Steep Falls, since 1982. And I'm married for a long time, 50 years. Couple of kids, 3 grandsons, 2 great-granddaughters, and a great-grandson. And also a 22-year veteran of the Maine Air National Guard. And I would appreciate your vote so that I can continue on the Budget Committee and keep municipal costs down as much as we can so that the mill rate stays low. I don't have a whole lot more for you. The Budget Committee reviews the town manager's budget after the council has reviewed it and then sends it to the Budget Committee. Budget Committee reviews it, sends back recommendations to the council, and the council can either accept or reject those. And I only served on it for the last year as a fill-in, and it was only a 1-year term, but I enjoyed it and would like to go back and serve another 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Perrin?
Hi, and thank you all for attending this, and thank you for those that are watching on TV. My name's Chris Perrin. I've lived in Standish for 3 years. We built a house here in 21 during COVID, although I'm pretty much local. I grew up in Wyndham, went through the Wyndham school systems, and before we moved to Standish 3 years ago, we were living in Gorham for the previous 24 years. My wife and I have been married for almost 40 years. Our two boys grew up in Gorham, went through the Gorham schools, and fortunately now they're out on their own. My background, 4-year college degree, Bachelor of Arts, economics major, and I worked in the insurance industry for 38 years as a surety bond underwriter. A lot of people may never even heard of a surety bond, but it's a form of credit. So my job was to analyze businesses and individuals for credit purposes. Really not all that unlike what a loan officer in a bank does. So I'm pretty comfortable around financial statements, budgets, and other financial related things. I have never served in a public office, never run for a public office, never served on any boards or committees in any towns, but I'm retired now, and with my background and I've always been interested in what goes on in the town and the state and the federal government, and so now I've got the time, the interest, and I think I got the background that lends itself well to the Budget Committee. I think, as far as I know, right now, the Town Council, the Budget Committee, they do a fine job. I have no hidden agenda to change what's been going on. But I'm a fiscally conservative person. I look at, when I think about the town budget, I think about, what is needed versus what is wanted, and, my tendency is going to lean towards addressing the needs, not necessarily the wants. So, another thing about me is I don't I don't own a business. I've never owned a business. I don't have any close friends or relatives that own businesses in Standish, so there's nothing that I can imagine that would come up on the Budget Committee where it would be a conflict of interest for me, because I simply don't have, alls I own in Standish is my house. So that's, that's pretty much what I had to say. I do appreciate everyone coming, and I would appreciate a vote on, because of the alphabet, my name is going to appear as the third one on the list of candidates for the Budget Committee. So you got to go down to the bottom. So thank you.
We have 4 candidates for the Planning Board, and Todd Delaney will start.
Evening. My name is Todd Delaney. Really great turnout this year. It's really nice to see everybody. I'm one of 3 people running for 1 seat on the Planning Board for the at-large. My first experiences with Standish started a long time ago. Back in the 60s, my family, we used to come through Standish on our way to go to LL Bean to get school clothes. And we'd stop, and I can remember Standish when, the Standish hardware store opened. And before there was a Shop and Save, which is now called Hannaford. The reality is that my family, after going shopping at LL Bean, would come back and stop at Kiwanis Beach, have a picnic. So, when Helen and I, my wife, were looking for a place 25 years ago, we saw a lot of towns and places. And over the years, because of being a member of the Portland Kiwanis Club, I got to come and, hang out at the Standish Kiwanis Clubhouse and got to know Clyde and, Sharon Foster, Mike Lynch, and a lot of the other locals. And we looked at a lot of places, but we found a place on Spear Road that we really loved, and we've lived there ever since. Helen, by the way, since my time in the case in town, she actually, for me, the biggest thing was I served on the school board for 6 years, and after I left the school board, Helen started working for the district. I also served on the Budget Advisory Committee. Kate was, either chair or vice chair with me over the years. The case is that I also have just served on the Budget Committee, but due to term limits, I'm termed out. And last year, I was talking to many people about, our town, and they asked me about, in a sense, considering running for the Planning Board. For me, I take this town real serious. My daughter's a senior at Bonnie Eagle High School, and my daughter works in the district, and I think it's very important. A lot of times, I think I've talked to probably over the last week, probably 50 business people, and a lot of people, because I talk about the school budget a lot. For me, I think it's more about the fact of the planning board has become something of an issue as far as people's concern about what's going on with our community and how things are going to go forward. It's not just about the codes. Just because I know what a riprap preventment is, or what the building codes are as far as building retaining wall by the lake, doesn't mean that the planning board shouldn't be about our community. It should be whether or not the fact of a retail business is coming to town, or the fact of a housing development, or if your property line is since you're having an issue in a sense with your abutter over a property line or something else. It's not just about the codes, it's about the community. And I think one of the most important things that we're looking for from the planning board and from our town is focusing not only on being a good neighbor, but also being on looking for the future. So for me, I think it's reasonable and understandable for people to have concerns, but I'm hoping that everyone on June 11th of the 3 names will pick mine. I think it's more as I've tried to for everyone here. It's not just about the codes, it's about our community and what direction it's going in. And the case is that for me, I'm really hoping that everyone turns out June 11th. If we have a good turnout, it's going to be a good election. Thanks again.
Next planning board candidate is Tammy Pettis-Braun.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tammy Braun, and I am running for planning board seat. My husband and I, my husband is a retired Master Gunnery Sergeant from the United States Marine Corps after 26 years. We were supposed to move to Standish and retire. We kind of did that. We started a lavender farm, and it exploded. So that being said, we've had a business here in Standish, got to meet a lot of the residents from not only all over Maine, but visitors that come in the summertime to see the lavender farm. We retired that last summer, so now it's more of a private end on the business. I was born and raised here in Maine. I went through the Gorham school system, graduated from Gorham, couldn't wait to leave Maine, left Maine, couldn't wait to get back. It took a long time to get back home again, but we've been here, Mark and I have been here for 10 years. We have 4 boys between the 2 of us. 2 are military and 2 are off doing their merry thing like I did. I love it here. I love Maine. I love Standish. I love our little farm. I have never held a town office position before. My background has always been in landscape, architectural landscape design, owned a company in Iowa, held it for 10 years, ended up with 30 employees. It got big, we sold it, here we are. The planning board interests me because we've always had vision for the future. Not huge changes, but vision for what things could be. Yes, we love our little rural place out on the Saco River, but we also understand the need for business and growth in the community as well. So we see it all over. We focus on the issues, not what side of the aisle you sit on. Period. That's just how Mark and I feel about the way that things like this should work. I have an education in business. I am a hospice nurse. That's my calling, and love it, feel it a huge privilege. I have done work for MSAD 6, working as an Ed Tech 3 for the behavioral children in the closed classrooms. My de-escalation skills are magnificent. That being said, I would love your vote. Like I said, no experience doing this, but I have a solid foundation of running my own business, forward vision, and would just love the opportunity to give it a whirl.
Lance Tusham?
Yep, it's me. Good evening. My name is Lance Tusham. My wife and I retired here a couple of years ago from Texas, where I was working for the federal government. We've had a house here in Standish for 17 years. My wife's been coming up here since the 60s, I think, long before she met me. For myself, I'm a Navy veteran. I'm retired in 2000. I went into construction when I got out of the military. I've got a lot of experience relating to whether it's federal, state, municipal contracting. I'm used to dealing with contractors on a daily basis in all aspects, so it doesn't matter what they're doing. That's what I'm involved in. I was always in the field. That drove my managers crazy sometimes. I was a field manager. I like to be in the field. I wanted to know what was going on. The planning board to me is very interesting because looking at what's going on that's going to impact Standish in the future, and specifically 25, the expansion on 25, if that comes to fruition through Gorham Spur, it's going to have a dramatic impact on Standish. People don't think it will. It's going to have a huge impact on Standish. Coming from down south, saw the exact same thing happen in a very small town in Georgia, and that 2-lane road is now an 8-lane highway. All right, so there's things we have to do on the planning board side to make sure that we're watching out for Standish's interest, all right? We are a growing community. Like you said, we need to bring in we need to bring in companies, we need to bring in residents. It's really funny when preparing for this meeting, I actually sat down and read all the minutes from the planning board for the last 2 years to understand where we're at, where we're going. One of the gentlemen brought up a really good point. It's not always what we need, not what we want, but it's what we need to be successful in the future. Standish is poised from where we're sitting to really grow. And I would like to be part of that to help steer Standish in the future to help it grow, okay? My name is Lance Tusham. I'm running for planning board at large, and I would appreciate your vote on June 11th. Thank you.
Fourth and final candidate is Andrew Walton.
Thank you. My name is Andrew Walton, and I've been on the planning board for the last 3 years. I'm the only candidate for planning board area 2. I'm from Steep Falls. Lived with my wife and 2 kids for the last 7 years. I'm originally from Leamington and Groveville, so very small areas. And I've worked for Hannaford for the last 20 years, which is a big accomplishment now, no matter where you work, I think. I'm a stay-at-home parent also. My 2-year-old keeps me very busy during the day. I volunteer. I kind of fill in some of my extra time volunteering for certain organizations. The Mountain Division Alliance is the one that I feel most passionate about, which is creating a rail trail from Portland to Freiburg. Standish is the reason why I'm involved, because it's going to impact us greatly and bring so much people to nature and use an unused asset that's been sitting there for the last 40 plus years. I'm running for office again because I have enjoyed my last 3 years on the planning board. I look at other towns and they maybe have like 1 application for their meeting, and we don't. We just sat through 4.5 hours this last time. We definitely need qualified people on the planning board, people that can bring their knowledge from the planning board across multiple years, I think is really important, because we're seeing applications that are taking really long to complete. And if we have new people coming in every year, it's very hard to bring them up to speed. One of the challenges that I've seen is our code. It can be left up to interpretation, which is not helpful at all for planning board, because we're relying on what does staff say, what do the experts say, what is the applicant saying, what is the public saying, and it's very, very difficult when we can't all agree on something that I think the code should be written in a way that it should be very cut and dry. And those, I wanted to mention also, at the meet and greet, definitely ask me about the trail. I'm very passionate about it. If you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
We are moving on to the Standish Town Council candidates, and we'll begin with Barbara Adrians.
Oh, I'm glad I married my husband. I come up first, A. Oh, boy, I know. Well, hi, I am Barbara Adrians, and I would like to be a town council person. I came from Steep Falls in the 80s and 90s. My husband and I lived on the Boundary Road. We had 3 boys. We had, let's see, there was Tucker the dog and Melbourne and Farquhar the rabbits. We had George the fish. He wasn't around for long. We had a busy life. I substituted through the district K through 12 and loved it. In the off season, we had a grounds maintenance business, which kept us busy most of the year. Well, life stepped in, and we needed to be closer to the turnpike. So we ended up selling and moving to Gray, 4 minutes from the turnpike. I will now talk about my education, which will lead me to tell you about why we moved to Gray. I have a BA at the University of Southern Maine. I also have my master's there in special education, getting to the point now. And I have a certification for assistant principal in schools, again, from USM. We moved to Gray because I got a teaching job, my first special ed teaching job at the Renaissance School, special purpose school in Lewiston. I worked there, very demanding job, learned a lot about children who just needed someone to unconditionally love them and listen to them and help give them the strategies where they could perhaps move back into public school. Wasn't for everybody, but for many of them. From there, I taught at Montello, regular and special ed, and then I went down to Biddeford. Again, I'm glad I was near the turnpike. I worked in Biddeford as an assistant principal in a school, Biddeford Primary School, with nearly 600 children, grade 1, 2, 3. So I was busy because my job was to handle behavior, which kept me busy. There was a lot of behavior. Professional experience, well, I handled over 100 IEPs annually, and that's where parents come in with their thoughts, their feelings, their needs for their children. And the teachers and specialists come in with what they feel is correct, and then I was there and I had the purse strings. So I needed to bring us all together, keeping an eye on what the student needed, but also on all the other facets of the meeting. Resolutions Committee for the Maine Principal Association. That's where we really looked at the wording of their policies and their principles that drove their decisions. So that was really word-based. And I was a former member of a community improvement center, community committee, excuse me. And that, we did a lot of work on trying to improve the community, and one of the things that we did was put in a walking trail that was accessible for those with different physical needs. Issues that are particularly of concern for Standish to me. The influx of residents brings a lot of burdens, added burdens to the town. I know I now have come back and I live 2 miles down the road on Nature's Way off Boundary Road. So after all these years, I'm back where I was pretty much. But boy, it's not the same. There are a lot of people moving in with babies, with toddlers, with little children who are going to go to our schools. We need to take it very seriously. Will we have the schools ready for these children when they come of age? We need to be more than just a pass-through community. Much like Boundary Road, we are a pass-through on our way to Gorham, on our way to other towns. We have to consider what we need. We need the right business, not just any business, but the right business. And we need to make the rules and regulations that say, we want you to come in rather than go away. Safety's a factor. Speed is huge in this district. It is everywhere. But I walk 2 miles a day. I am out there with my dog. I see people on bicycles. It's just not very safe in a lot of areas. So, in conclusion, I will say to you, thank you for coming. I hope you'll consider giving me your vote. I'm committed to revitalize leadership and vision for Standish. Are you? Thank you.
Terrence Christie is next. Terrence? Terry.
Terrence Terry Christie. Pictures up there 3 times. 12738 is where I was born, Maine Ioneer in Portland, Maine.
There's one in the South Portland Council Chamber also.
Oh, okay. We won't go there. Lived in Steep Falls in 1947 and 48. Moved up there from South Portland. Father, mother, and my sister. And I won't point her out tonight. She's here. She follows me everywhere. Why is Terry running again at this time? I think I've been many areas of southern Maine as far as a participant in doing. I started out in Steep Falls in the village store, minding the store for my father at that time when he was going up in Brownfield and the others fighting the fire. I had a good time. Met the chaplains, met the Burnells. They were great people, and we loved it. And that's where that started with me as far as this area is concerned. My mother said, we're going back to South Portland, the fire's getting closer. So Dad came back, the store closed, and we moved back to South Portland. I'm an educator. I went to the University of Maine in Portland, went up and had my master's degree. As a result of that in education, I traveled to California, the Mammoth area out there, to look at the brine out there and what the problems were. In state, many things I've been involved with, especially Standish, my time in the council, time in the chair. South Portland, I was mayor of South Portland back in the day, responsible and a participant in the Green Belt. And if anybody know where the old railroad was that went through there, that was a start. Yep, that was a biggie. Why is Terry doing this now? It's in my blood. I feel for people. I've always seen people that I can talk with. I have not ignored them. The times I were on the council before, I listened. I'm a good listener. People still call me from the time when I was on before what they're thinking of and what they want and what they'd like to see. But usually I'm not as soft like this. You can probably see me in some of the things I'm doing around Standish right now. I'm a member of the VIPS, Volunteer and Police Service. Out here every time we've got good things that are going in town. One of my best motion pictures of all of me is Cumberland County Council of Governments. In that I was the first year I joined, I was made the vice chairman. That I earned and loved immensely. I live on 14 Mountain View Lane. I'm married to Kathy Christie, who used to teach at Bonnie Eagle High School for a number of years. I taught in South Portland for a long period of time, and I had Memorial Middle School, had a big hand in building the Memorial Junior High, as far as that's concerned. Education is very strong in my presentation to you, more than any other time. The big trucks I see every day, there's got to be an answer to those. We had one when I went down, got gas tonight, a big crash right in front of the gas station, and people going by at 50 and 60 miles an hour. I want to watch that. We mentioned we got that spot. It's going to be hard to get away from down south. It comes up here and it comes across, comes from Wyndham, and I have a good one. I have 30 seconds left or 30 to go? 30 to go. Make a feeler. We're going to go back to my family again. Kathy taught Bonnie Eagle for a long period of time in English. I have 3 daughters, Julia, Karen, and Andrea. I have 5 granddaughters, and I'm not going to name all of those right now. But I want to come back, I feel I can take my experiences of what I've had of the past and be maybe a good person to come to, and what did you do back then, what is ahead. Thank you very much. I see a lot of nice faces here tonight. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Terry.
Our next Standish Town Council candidate is Heather Richards.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Heather Richards. I am running for the Area 1 seat that is available on the Town Council. I'd like to take a moment tonight to thank a few people. I'd like to say first, thanks to our first responders, especially our EMS guys. When my mom was living with my sister, I know that she had a lot of issues when she would fall, and she would get so humiliated. And the EMS guys would show up, and they were so sweet. They were so nice, and they made her feel so much better and so much less embarrassed, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to our wonderful Public Works folks who work so diligently to keep our roads clear and help us so we can take care of our trash and our recycling and all of that stuff, and our ever hardworking people in the town hall. And also thank you to our organizers tonight who made this possible for all of us. I guess what the first thing I want to say is, I'm not a politician. I'm just a resident of Standish. I've been here for about 6 years, and I'm proud to be a part of Standish. I really am. I'm running for the seat because I want to help my neighbors. It started out as I was part of a group of people who came to the town council because there was an issue that we were very passionate about, and we came to many meetings and a few planning board meetings. And it was suggested that maybe one of us should run for town council. So here I am. I believe in servant leadership. So essentially what that means to me is I want you to tell me what you want. I have things that I would like to see for Standish, but when it comes to my opinions and my positions on issues, I believe that's for me when I step into the voting booth as a resident. It's not for me as a member of the town council. As a member of the town council, it's for you to tell me what your ideas are, what your dreams are, what your plans are, how you want to see Standish for the future. And as a representative for you, I should be voting based on what the majority of people tell me that they want, not what I want. A little bit about myself. I'm a mother of 2 special needs children. I raised them as a single parent. They're now grown. My son, who's on the autism spectrum, started out working for FedEx. He's worked for them for many, many years, and he started out loading trucks in the middle of the night. I used to have to get up and take him down to the terminal at 3 a.m., go pick him back up at 7. And he progressed in that job until he became the senior quality assurance person for the region. My daughter, who had her own issues, is now a very talented and successful hairstylist. And she has given me a grandson who is the absolute light of my life and my partner in crime. When my son, who is my youngest, graduated from high school, I decided that I wanted to go back to college and get my bachelor's degree. I had an associate's degree in business, but I felt like I wanted more. Working with him and his autism had really given me a passion about psychology, so I went back to USM and I enrolled in their psychology program. For the first 3 years of my program, I worked full-time, went to school half-time, that's a lot of work, and also helped raise my grandson. And then my company was sold and it went out of business, and I was, I would say, fortunate enough to be able to do my last couple of years just going to school full-time. In 2016, I graduated summa cum laude, or highest honors, with my bachelor's degree in psychology. The point I'm trying to make with these stories is that when I put my mind to something, I give it my best. I give it everything that I have. And I want to do my very best for the people in Standish. During the day, I work as a regional vice president, a company that promotes healthcare equity for Mainers who have Maine care, and we help them get access to commercial insurance.
It helps families get better health insurance. It helps hospitals and doctors get paid more money. And it helps the state save money by sharing expenses with an insurance company. It also keeps me humble because I watch them struggle to make ends meet like so many here in Standish. Prices of everything have gone up. Since COVID, a lot of stuff has just doubled in price. Things I'd like to see us bring in some more businesses, but not just any business. We need jobs. We need jobs with benefits. I also would like to see some protections for people on fixed incomes like veterans, the elderly, the disabled. And I would really love to see this community grow and become what it can be, what I see it can be. I'm hoping that you'll give me the opportunity to serve you, and that as a representative for you, I'm prepared to listen to your ideas. Thank you.
Our final town council candidate, Jennifer Thomas, and then we will hear from our school board candidates.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Thomas. I'm running for the Area 1 Town Council position. I want to thank Cheryl and the Saco River Community Media for this opportunity tonight. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Leamington and Standish. I went to Bonnie Eagle High School. I went to USM. I left the state to get my law degree and a master's in environmental law, and I couldn't wait to get back. I came back and I practiced in Portland. 11 years ago, I had an amazing opportunity to have my firm join Attorney Steve's here in Standish, and I took over his practice, and I've been loving it ever since. I've had the opportunity to work with my classmates' parents, meet new residents, and work for local businesses in my practice. You come into my office and you see my yearbooks on the coffee table as you're reading material. I am so lucky to say that I live, work, and play here in Standish. I live over on River Road. I own a commercial building up the street. Why pick me? I'm a fresh set of eyes. I can use my experience to your benefit. I own commercial property and residential property, so I have a vested interest in seeing Standish grow appropriately. I also have a vested interest in making sure that my clients who are local thrive. I have skills in my practice that will benefit me in a position as town councilor. My creative thinking, my problem solving, my empathy, my patience, my problem solving skills, and being a creative thinker. What are the big issues that I see for Standish? Taxes, taxes, taxes. And that is a big umbrella, because under that big umbrella of taxes are all the other issues that we're dealing with our school budgets, our town services, the infrastructure. I get it, life's expensive, but we need to ensure that we keep Standish affordable. I'm concerned that we have longtime residents that might get priced out of their homes. And so I'm also concerned that we have more residential building than we have commercial building. We need new businesses to come into Standish. And how do we do that? Our schools. We need to make sure we keep our schools appropriately funded. By keeping our schools appropriately funded, we keep our property values up. We also, with our higher property values, we attract new businesses into town. How else? By helping the Comprehensive Plan Committee outline Standish's vision for the future. They're looking at the needs of the residents now and the needs for our future. So we need to identify areas where we want to see commercial growth so that we can maintain our cute rural areas, maintain our nice local Steep Falls Village, and maintain some of our more rural farmland areas. These challenges are not going to be easy, but we need to work together to solve these tough problems, and I hope you will elect me so I can put my hometown values and experience to work for you. Thank you.
At this point, we're going to move on to the MSAD 6 candidates, and we'll start with Kelly Heath.
Are we going up together? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's all of us go. Let's go.
And Paul Welch.
Thank you, Patrick.
Give a little variety.
Thanks for taking the time to hear from us today. My name's Kelly Heath, and I'm the Hollis representative to the school board, but you all get to vote for me because we can all vote for the towns. So every town is represented in the school board vote. So I would appreciate your vote this year to continue on to be on the school board.
Awesome. I'm Paul Welch. I was born in Standish, technically Maine Med, but my mom and my dad luckily brought me home to Standish, and Standish is still my home. I have my wife, my 2 children that both attend the district. It's one of the primary reasons why I ran for office. I represent you. I represent Standish. I do so proudly. Let me read a little bit from Ms. Dakotas, Ellen Dakotas, who is your current policy chair, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but she did want us to just say, the 3 of us, we've served on the school board for the past 3 years together. We worked with the entire board to add to the curriculum committee as a standing committee. We work closely with the assistant superintendent and the 2 curriculum directors to define the role of the board and to bring curriculum oversight to our communities. The timeline for the board meetings and the curriculum processes were coordinated to meet the goal of providing updates and appropriate educational materials within the budget guidelines. 2 of us have worked together on the policy committee. We gave guidance on the school district and to its day-to-day endeavors. The policies are really designed to make sure that we meet our statutory and our legal obligations. And we do this through the entirety of our district from K through 12. One of the big opportunities that I think that we have as a district going forward, the reason that I'm running again, and I'm sure Ms. Heath will say that as well, is that we need to ensure that we can retain our staff. My daughter Josie had a Spanish teacher that had left mid-year last year, and they couldn't find a replacement. And when does that Spanish teacher turn into an English teacher or an algebra teacher? I've chaired the curriculum committee. I'm currently your vice chair, and I'm really encouraged by the turnout. I hope you all come out to vote on June 11th, support our budget.
Right, and so the 3 of us, again, Ellen couldn't make it tonight, but the 3 of us are running unopposed, and we've been fast friends since we ran the last time. And one thing I will say that people who may not know much about the school board and the machinations, even though we're from the districts, different districts, and representing different towns, we're very much, it's a consensus approach. So if you don't have a board that's unified and has moderate consensus builders, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And our board, you should be so proud as Standish residents of the representation you have in your town. The school board candidates, Erica Kreutz, John Sargent, who's here tonight. We're so much into consensus building and making sure we're making the right decisions to support the safety of their students and to make sure we're supporting our staff. And so our board this year and the Budget Advisory Committee, the leadership that they have shown, and there are many Standish people involved in that endeavor as well. It's been a really fantastic year, and we hope to continue the good work that we've been doing this year and continue it into the next 3 years. So thank
for
you.
your support.
23rd of May.
Yes,
May.
thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Will it be on
It's
Saco River?
Monday nights, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
We want to thank you all for coming tonight. We heard from an outstanding array of candidates, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to retreat now to,
across the hall to the Sebago room where two friends of mine have, Mary and Sue have brought snacks. So we can go in there, have a snack, and chat with each other.
we also want to thank, of course, our online viewing audience and the cable viewing audience at home as well. Thank you.